And we are live with Dr. David Phelps, and I'm really excited that for the next 30 minutes I get to interview him about his book that just released yesterday on Amazon, What's Your Next? Bonuses available. We'll drop a link in the comments. David is one of my favorite humans. David, just yesterday, I was talking to a new client. We were doing like a 90-minute strategic planning session. And everybody can see my book that's been sitting in the background. And so I've been promoting you for weeks now. And they were asking about, what's your next and tell me about the book. So I did, and we're going to get into those discussion points today, everyone. But I said, the thing you need to know about David is that he is one of the kindest humans. He is a phenomenal leader. His team is the most excellent team that I've ever worked with. And it has been beyond a pleasure to support this book launch with you. And I'm not just hyping you up. This is genuine. Everybody, you're in for a real treat. So David, welcome.
Well, Amber, thanks for those very kind words. I can spit them right back to you because it's been mutually is exciting and fun to work with you and your team. I'll just say that right there.
Thank you. Well, so David was introduced to me. I've actually known about you through a few people. One is best-selling author Mike Michalowicz. We launched his book, Fix This Next, about a year ago, hit Wall Street Journal, but also mutual friend Daniel Marcos, yes, who has the best things to say about you as well. He does. But why don't we get started? Tell people a little bit about your background in Freedom Founders, and then I want to transition into the meat of this book because it's a great one.
Yeah, so I'll keep it tight, but I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Going back to my early ages with lemonade stands and newspaper routes and getting other kids to do the work. I've always been about that. But then I went down the road of formal education because that's safety, right? That's security. Get high degrees and go into a profession. So I became a dentist. All right. Because my dad was a doctor, so it kind of makes sense. I was around that world, so I'm kind of molded, and it's like, okay, it's respectable, and yeah, I can make the grades and regurgitate the stuff on tests, which is really the game that you play with formal education today. So I can make that happen. That even when I was in school, this is a little side, I should have been studying like mammalian physiology and chemistry, and I did. I had to study those, but I also was reading books about how to invest money because I always want independence. Always, when I was a kid, I wanted my own money because my parents wouldn't just give me or my sisters anything. If we wanted the better bike, or for me, it was like tennis rackets and tennis shoes, I had to go buy it. So otherwise, I just got the rank and file stuff. And I wanted a few special things of my own, so I had to learn how to do that early on. So I'm in school, and school's kind of the formal education process, which I am not against because think we need it, but it kind of starts to railroad people. It's like, this is the way you do it. If you're going to be this, that, or the other, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, this is how you behave. And I don't really like rules. And so why did I go into dentistry? Because there's lots of rules. I mean, you're working on people's mouths, right? I mean, you can't experiment, okay? And I like to experiment. So I got this major conflict going in my life. I thought I was supposed to be a dentist, and I was, and I did, okay? And I did it well. I worked hard at it, but it's like taking a square peg and trying to grind it into a round hole. And I never really realized that was really not something that you should accept in life. I thought, you just had to martyr down and do the work because I'll do the work, but like for a whole lifetime. So I had this other side of me. So I got involved in real estate when I was in school. I was reading books about, how to invest money, and I found real estate. This just makes sense to me. So while I was in school, I got my dad to help me, be my co-venture partner in a real estate deal. Like 41 years ago. I was 22 years old. And so I learned so much of that process that I never looked back. Now I did dentistry and I did real estate kind of in tandem. Not probably the best way to do it, but I didn't have a full-fledged family at that time. So I had enough time to put into both. Part of my book is doing things simultaneously and not sequentially in life necessarily, to get things going and have flexibility and options to iterate in life, kind of like what the book's about. What's your next? So I did both. My daughter, my only child, very sick, almost out of the gate, 2.5 years old, high-risk leukemia, then epileptic seizures, and then age 12, liver transplant. Bam, 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 boom. It's life-changing. And people that are listening, you've been through it. You've maybe going through something like that with people that you care and love. Maybe it's yourself. And so that kind of turned my whole ideal life my plan, what I wanted to control. It kind of threw it up in the air. But I, was resolved that I would, get through it. And you get through these things, and the adversity turns into opportunities. But you've got to, again, have some things going on in your life, which I talk about in the book, to allow those adversities to turn into opportunities. Otherwise, you can get segued and life can blow up on you. And I'm not a fan of letting that happen, but I'm also not a person who says life is going to be perfect and just do the work and be a good person. That's not going to be enough, because things just happen. So Freedom Founders arose out of that, after I sold my practice because my daughter was so sick. I wanted to spend time with her. Now I've got this void period in my life. For finally, like, I can actually breathe and think a little bit, which I love to do, by the way. I love to think. I love time to think. I need that time. And I finally had time to think. And so Freedom Founders is a group that I facilitated today. It's a mastermind group for, right now, it's a lot of doctors and dentists, because that's where I came from. But it's really, fits any kind of business owner who wants to develop capital and wealth and predictable cash flow outside of their primary business. It's my way of looking at, quote, retirement plans, although I hate the word retirement, but just using the word, a lot of people, having control over your future is what I love to have. And so that's what we do in Freedom Founders, to give people control of their future, so they actually have milestone markers, and not just this, well, I'll wait till I get to my age when I get to retire and hopefully have enough, it's just like, oh, come on, let's not go down that road. So that's it in as tight a nutshell as I can give it to you, Amber.
Great. Well, we have a lot more to discuss. So for those of you viewing, David and I are in conversation right now. For you, it's not about us, it's about you. So please, in the chat comment, introduce yourself. Just let us know where you're watching from. I can see many people viewing right now. And what question do you have for David? David, as you were talking, I could sort of channel in some of our following that might be intimidated at the idea of starting with investing. They have their business, and that feels like more safe or secure because they know how that world operates. And they've heard that it's important to diversify and invest, but they're intimidated. They don't know where to start. What would you say to them to kind of put them at ease and point them in a direction?
I totally understand that, because when you're investing in yourself, in your own business, you have control over that. And we want control. We all want control. But there's a time when you do want to have money that's not necessary for your own self-education or your business, that you can actually put out and have that money working for you. How the heck do you do that? Well, Wall Street's there in a big way to say, hey, we're over here. We got all kinds of plans, programs, products. Give your money to us. We'll take good care of it. We'll be good stewards. Well, for most people, that doesn't work out well over the long term.
Right.
So having control of your own future means you do have to find a way to put invest time on what I call the business of your money, just like you put time in the business of your business. And that's not easy to do. It's like, where do you go to do that? Do you become a financial trader on Wall Street? No, I don't think you want to be a financial trader on Wall Street. That's just a whole Do you want to go out and learn how to find real estate and go through realtors and contractors and take tenant applications and have calls in the middle? No, I don't think you want to do that, right? Flip this house on TV. So how can you, establish a game plan that's good for you? It all starts with what we know so well, Amber, and everybody that's with us today. You understand, it's all about relationships. Totally. Relationships are the key to everything in life, and finding the right relationships, just like you and I found each other. I wasn't just searching I didn't go out to find someone to help me with my book just by saying, book launch. I could have, but what I do, no, I go to other people who I know have already done what I want to do and say, hey, how did you do it? Oh, well, you got to meet Amber Vilhauer. That's enough for me to take the next step. Well, same thing with your investments. You want to find people that have already gone down that road, that you believe that they're trustworthy, that they kind of know what they're doing. They have core values similar to yours, and they've done something where they have a connection, a network of some kind that you could get into. Maybe you need to pay to play, which is okay. All right. It's not just like they're going to just give it to you. Plus, when you invest your time and your capital in something, it shows you've got skin in the game. And I love to work with people who are committed. I'll do everything I can, just like you do. When they're committed to the cause, whatever it is, for themselves or business, people they want to impact, I'm there for them. But I want to see that commitment. So network, relationships, show commitment, show desire, and realize that you have to be the one to take control of your life. Don't abdicate it to somebody else.
Gosh, that's so smart. It's such a refreshing answer, and it's different than what a lot of other people are talking about. I do want to give you an opportunity to share a little bit about Freedom Founders specifically, because it's a phenomenal network. It's a phenomenal community. It's thriving, it's growing. I know that you're branching out beyond that as well in some ways. So could you speak a little bit to how people can work more specifically with you? And then I want to pivot and talk about the book.
Yeah, sure. Well, Freedom Founders is for people that have a good business. They're not done with their business. They don't have to be finished with their business, but they've got the business running well enough that they have capital that they want to invest outside the business. And maybe they are investing in Wall Street products or whatever. They have 401ks. They may have some stocks, bonds, annuities. They may even be investing in some real estate that they've tried, and maybe it's worked sort of. But they really, again, they want to find a group that actually has protocols and systems, really a plan, a roadmap to help that kind of person take that capital and get it working better for them than maybe their current capital is working in an environment. There is a certain amount of safety nets and curation already done. It's a co-creative group. It's not a done for you. It's co-creation where people come in, but it is customized to each individual. There's no cookie cutter. I don't believe in cookie cutter. Just like you don't. You help every one of your clients based on who they are and what their mission is and what they're trying to get done and who their audience is. I mean, that's how we do it. So it's a collaborative process. You totally work that way, and I love how you do it with your clients and how you worked with us, Amber.
Yeah, and I love that you said protocols and systems, because that's like one of my love languages. I want to know, because I, as emotional and sensitive as I am, I'm very logical about how I make decisions and how I move forward. And so the fact that Freedom Founders touches on the community and relationships, you have a little bit of that art and the co-creation, the creativity process, but then you anchor with systems and procedures. Like, it's the perfect blend. One side question to that is, if somebody is thinking, well, gosh, this sounds really great, David, but I don't know that I probably don't have the hundreds of thousands of dollars that is needed to get, started in the game. How would you respond to that?
Well, there's a right time and right place, and we do carefully vet. But if we feel like, or something, no harm for people to reach out. I'm saying, because we don't pull people in. I actually push away more times than not and make people really go through an application process to make sure they have the commitment and they are the right fit. Right. But yes, we're not for everybody. Don't even try to be. So I do a lot of other public broadcasting, through blogs, so podcast. I've got a newsletter. I do webinars, and occasionally, once or twice a year, I'll do a short sprint, a 6-week cycle of helping people that are not ready to go out and invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, but want kind of the roadmap is based on where they are, how they can get ready for that. And it's kind of getting this. So I do love to give back in the right way to the right people and make that, a tight course, modest investment, and fit for them. So different ways you can connect with us at freedomfounders.com, and Alex or one of our team, glad to have a conversation, kind of figure out where there might be a way to help anybody who's looking for that.
Yeah, definitely, because there's always a place that you can get started, right? And so I just want to make sure that you're plugging into the community, you're educating yourself, you're building up that cash flow to then be able to do something significant with it and build that legacy, which is a perfect transition into what's your next. One of the pieces of feedback that I gave David about this book is, not only is the content really good, it's an easy read in that, it just flows really well. He's an excellent writer, good stories in here. You feel like you're in conversation with David, which I also always appreciate about, authors and how they write. But it's a beautiful book. The typesetting, the design, the flow of it, it's just gorgeous, David. So well done on the book itself. Speak a little bit about who this book is best for and what you're hoping, what's the transformation that you want them to experience after reading the book?
This book is really the first one I've done that I want to reach a multi-generational audience, the spectrum, from young people who, like I was 40-some years ago, still in school and trying to figure out, my pathway. But if I would have had more options back then, or people would have sewn into me and said, yeah, David, you could do this or this, I might have done something differently. No regrets. But I want young people to see that there's more than just that one option that maybe they felt or they see right now because of how society defines success today. People that are in first part of their career, mid-career. Maybe the business is rolling, they're upstarted, they've got family, and again, things are running along, but there's probably some dissonance. It's like, this wasn't exactly what I signed up for. I'm not, and there's something lacking in their life. May not be money, but maybe it's just that drive to have to make money and pay the bills every month. As all of us as business owners, oh my gosh, every month you start the cycle over again. The overhead there right in front of you, and bam, I just got through that last month. I just toted that thing up the mountain by myself, and I got to go back and do it again.
Start all over.
How can I even, when I'm not ready to sell my business and quote retire, heaven forbid, how can I be making some substantive changes now in the dynamic of what I'm doing so that I can actually enjoy what I'm doing and not feel this pressure, like, am I going to have enough when I want to let loose and retire? So that's kind of mid-career. And then there's a lot of people that are at that point where they have worked really hard and they've raised families and they've been, quote, successful by society's standards. But again, part of the two parts to their next that are challenges is, one, it's always the financial part. Once I sell the business and I stop trading time for dollars, which I've been doing successfully for many years, do I have enough? Do I have enough money, assets that are working for me to let that happen? That's a scary, scary thought for a lot of people, even if they have done really well all their life and they've provided for their families. But, there's so much uncertainty in the world ahead. Right now in the head, do I have enough? Big, big problem. Second part is, once I take off that hat of who I've been all these years, respected in the community, and I've had a team, a staff, a business, people who have come to avail themselves of the great service I provide. Now I take that off. Who the heck am I? Oh my! Seriously, I work with people who have done so well in their service, in their business, and when it comes to that point where they financially definitely can step away, they'll self-sabotage. They will self-sabotage. I had a doctor the other night, Amber. Great guy, faith. Just, you'd say, check the boxes. Family, wife, marriage, check the boxes. And he had the opportunity to sell his practice, had a buyer. And he said, it fell through. It fell through. And instead of going, oh my gosh, he goes, I was actually relieved. And he's at a point where he knows his body can't take it, but he's afraid to let go because he doesn't have a next. He hasn't identified with who he is. See, we tend to take what we do in life and we tend to say that's who we are. That's our identity. Like no dentist ever wants to have a tombstone where the epitaph says, I was a dentist. I mean, come on. I mean, there's much more to all of us, but we just haven't figured out what that is because we haven't taken time to discover it and explore it, right? To see there's more than just what you do.
I want to share my screen so that everybody can get a sense of this book. Go buy it right now. Findyournext.com. Love the point of the book, love the flow of the book, a lot of great endorsements. And I'm going to scroll down quickly. We do have some bonuses available for you. You're simply going to come to findyournext.com. You're going to click out to Amazon. You'll notice that the book is a best-selling book. Congratulations, David, on that. And then you can come back to this page where you can get access to these bonuses, the Capital Organizer, behind-the-scenes interview about an upcoming book that you have with Dan Kennedy. And then there's also a coffee with David opportunity where you can ask him questions based on the book or in general, get to know him, get to know his methodology, his belief systems, and how he can help support you there as well. So David, talk about the 5 freedom assets for me.
These were assets that, looking back on my life, Amber, and just going through iterations and the lessons learned, that when I look back and say, how did I make it through to my next and next and next? It never stops. Is what were the key elements that allowed me to do that, particularly even in times when life was challenging and things weren't going right. My daughter was sick and I failed at a marriage, number one, and I failed in a business sale. I mean, there are all kinds of things that we go through as entrepreneurs. So what were the things that really I look back and said, these were keys, fundamentals to allow me to move through those and still be not successful by society's definition, but my definition. What does that mean to me? So the first one is
key. I just have to stop you because that is key, not society's definition, but your definition. And most people are not taking the time to really think about what you want and what your definition of success is. So that's just such a key point. I had to cut you off there.
No,
So
it's,
continue.
I totally agree. I mean, and it wasn't until I went through some of the most challenging times of my life, Amber, that I made that decision that I'm not going to follow society's definition. I'm done with that, because I did that. I did that for lots of years. I did it, and it's not fulfilling, but it's not easy to not follow the majority either. I'm just saying, you got to find your people, which is well, let's just go there. Freedom asset number 3, I'll just do it in that order, is relationships. Finding your people, your tribe, your network, your relationship capital. I mean, that's why you and I are talking today, because of that. There was no other reason. I'm a big introvert. Now I get passionate about talking about stuff that I'm passionate about, or with my people, I'll light up. But boy, you put me in a room where I don't find like there's congruency, and I'll sit at the back table and watch and observe. But relationship capital, your network is your net worth. It's so true. And I would just tell people, don't ever try to do life solo. And if you're an introvert like me, yeah, it takes extra work. It takes work. It's a little bit scary to step outside your box and be vulnerable, because I like to feel like I'm in control, and I don't like to let on that don't have to get it. But when you find your people, you are willing and able to say, I don't have it all together. And then you've got people that I can trust, that are not there to judge you, but actually say, hey, I've been through that before, or here's a great resource, or here's something I did. Relationships. So that's number 3. So now back into number 1. Freedom asset number 1. It's invest in yourself. Now you can say, well, yeah, go to school, get the education. That's part of it. But too many people get that degree, license, certificate, and go to their career, whatever it might be, and they say, well, I'm done. I hit the pinnacle. Hey, I just go do my thing now. Bad move. Bad move. And I think most of the people here are totally get this. Self-education is really where it's at. I mean, the formal education just gives you a door to open. It's like door number 1. But if you want like door number 2, 3, 4, 5, which is what your next is about, then self-education is what you take on after you have that formal education that you never stop doing. Never. Not till the day God takes you from this earth should you ever stop self-educating yourself.
Agreed.
Freedom asset number 2. Invest in your business.
Yeah.
So most people here have businesses. I mean, that's what we're about. And most businesses, for a lot of us, and for me for many years, it's a job. And it's okay if you love every aspect of it, but how can you redesign your business with the right people, systems, and protocols, coming back to what we talked about earlier, so that you can enjoy doing the things that you're good at in the business, and not trying to wear all the hats like so many of us have done so many years, and where the business is actually stressful, and going to work every day and every Monday. And, it's like, it just gets to be a drag. So focus on optimizing your business to make it a business that supports you, your strengths, and anything that you don't do well, which I have a whole host of those. You find other people, systems, processes that take care of those.
Yeah.
Now, I had to learn that through other people, by being around other people. I didn't just figure it out by myself.
But you're so good at it. I mean, his team is amazing. Davey, Lindsay, Alex, Nathaniel, like, you guys are lifting David up to really live his greatness and the messages that are coming through from your experience and your wisdom, David. So then talk to me about asset number 4 and 5.
All right. So number 4 is invest in your capital, which is the word for your investments. Outside of your business, outside of investing in yourself, which should be 1 and 2. Now you've got extra capital. You want to get that capital also working well for you, as hard as working for you as much as you work for it. So that's your investments. That's what we talked about earlier. So we talked about how to get there. So that's number 4. And then number 5 is investing in your legacy. Well, what's that mean? Well, I think that means your impact, which doesn't start when you're like, 85 years old or at the end. No. It's today. It is right now, today. You're living your legacy. And it doesn't mean to me what you leave to people. It's what you leave in them. That's the impact. You can leave money and wealth and assets. I'm not against it. But what are you leaving in people? Because people won't remember you for what you gave them. They'll remember for how you made them feel and the impact you had on them, which is as simple as you're in a store checking out with the checkout counter. And I learned this from my dad, a doctor who could have just snubbed his nose at everybody who wasn't like his equal. No, he would talk to anybody. And if there was a name badge on him, he'd call my name and he would just make their day. I followed him as a little boy when he went to the hospital or somewhere else, and my dad would always connect with people and take the time to look at anybody serving lunch in the cafeteria, custodians, LVNs, I mean, whoever, dry cleaners. And he would always find something to say to them and even try to have fun if they were that. And I just thought, man, that's who I want to be when I grow up.
Elevate every experience, right? That's what I'm always talking about, is that you are in that grocery store checkout line. That's an opportunity, not to just look down at your cell phone, but look up and think, where's the opportunity to elevate somebody's mood? Because then do you think that checkout person is going to impact everybody else in the line moving forward, right? Everything is an opportunity. Do you guys see why I love this man? He's amazing. So David, we have a lot of people in our audience that are authors specifically, but we also have speakers and business owners thinking about writing a book. Just in a quick tip or two, the experience of writing, marketing, launching your book. Do you have a quick tip, something that worked well for you that you might want to share with the audience? Help them on their path. Oops, I see we might be frozen. So I could take this opportunity to share that David had a phenomenal pre-order campaign where he was able, oh, David, I was answering the question for you.
Sorry.
But I wanted to see if you had any quick tips about the writing or marketing, publishing, monetizing process of your book. Just a quick tip or two that you might want to give to the authors in the audience.
I think it goes back again to your network, and I've spent a lot of years building a network organically. But when you have a message you want to get out, you can't just rely on Amazon to sell it for you. You can't depend upon you going out and doing a few Facebook posts. You really need to utilize in a mutually beneficial way. I mean, you always need to serve first, but if you've got a network, whatever size that is, do something special to show that person of influence within your realm, why this book will serve their people, their audience, whatever that audience is. Be specific and send them the book, send them something special, do something special within that, so that when they see it, they go, okay, this is not just any old book that's coming out. Utilize your network to do that. I think that's probably my biggest tip, and you all were so helpful in showing us how to do that really, really well.
You guys did such a great job. So one of the things that you did to give back to your network is we designed these influencer gift boxes that were based on the branding of the book. Made quite the experience. And when you open it up inside, I've already dismantled it, but hardcover copy of the book. And then we had this beautiful belly band. We had a postcard with a really meaningful message. We had a bookmark and a business card and an envelope. And then we had these plaques designed where, David, talk about your Give Back campaign, because it just touched my heart so much. Look at this.
Yeah. So we utilized B1G1, which you made the connection. Again, connections are everything, and found that there were so many charitable opportunities that one could give to. And so Tanzania was our connection to help business entrepreneurs there give scholarships so they could learn to improve their business protocols. Why Tanzania? A couple of my team members several years ago took a young man who had cancer, who had physical disabilities and was blind, and help him peak Mount Kilimanjaro. I mean, you talk about an effort. Yes. So my team came back with all these great stories, and when I saw the opportunity to do something for Tanzania, we just all said, that's it. That's where we're going to do it. So yeah, it's an amazing story in itself. But yes, that's why we had a connection to Tanzania. I have not summited Kilimanjaro. I need to go do that.
We'll do that, right? I'll do that. Our legacy and our relationship, maybe. I don't know. But guys, what's your next? Please go get a copy of this book, share it on social media, join the conversation in the chat comments, go back to findyournext.com and get access to those bonuses that are available during launch week. And I just really appreciate that, as part of David's campaign, he was giving back to his relationships throughout the entire duration of the campaign, and then also giving back in a more global way. Some great takeaways that you can consider for your own launch, but also for your life, just in the concepts in the book alone. David, I want to be mindful of your time. I know you're doing these back-to-back interviews. I just want to thank you for pouring your wisdom and your heart into our community. Any last words that you want to say before we conclude?
Oh, first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for your support, your help, and our connection. And so much more comes out of these kind of connections than just a one book launch. It's been spectacular, but I look forward just to other ways that we will collaborate on and on and on because we have the same kind of heart. So thank you, Amber.
Me too. You guys are the best. Please go congratulate David. Get a copy of his book, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.